Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance inside the Capitol in Lansing, Michigan, joined by Goeff Hansen. He is a member of the Michigan State Senate, and I understand you volunteered to be the lead on the Detroit public school situation, even though your district may be 4 hours away from Detroit. Why did you choose to do that, sir?
Well, I did volunteer because I felt somebody could, not from the area, would have a better outlook on being able to come in and talk to all of the parties and get a different outlook than if you're right down inside of it. And plus, in my district, I got Muskegon Heights, which a few years ago had really bad financial problems. They did the same type of thing with them, where they ended up actually chartering the entire district and keeping the old district to pay down the debt. And so that has been going pretty well. The elementary schools are the most improved in the county. So there's some good things that happen through there, and I felt that I could be a good partner in this.
I do want to talk, though, more broadly about the challenges facing DPS, because in the final analysis, DPS is caught up in the maelstrom that is Detroit, which has lost a huge swaths of population, huge swaths of its economic engine. And so when you consider that this school district went from, let's say, 165,000 students maybe 10, 12 years ago to under 50,000, and budgets are dropping, it feels like a no-win situation.
You're absolutely right. And looking at, if you lose 100,000 kids at $7,000 a kid, that's a large chunk of money. The problem being is they lost students so fast that there is no district that could have kept up with the loss of the dollars. And they've tried. They've gone from 225 schools down to like 93 or buildings. They've cut way back on everything, but it's just been a really, really difficult time.
And in the midst of it, you have some bribery scandals, you have some fraud going on. It just seems as if they keep getting punched. I do want to say, and I'm looking at this as an outsider, as the Senate has looked at the issue and as the House looked at the issue, it seemed as if the Senate, again, I'm an outsider, took a more sober approach, an approach that seems to have received more plaudits than the House version, an approach that was perceived to be quite bipartisan. How is it that the Senate, led by Mr. Hansen on this issue, was able to create that type of formula?
Well, the first thing I did when I volunteered was I said, I'm going to Detroit. I sat down with Excellent Schools Detroit, Students First. I sat down with the union. I sat down with the parents. I sat down with the teachers. I sat down with students. I sat down with the coalition that they had put together. I sat down with the pastors. I sat down with anybody that I could find to sit down with and talk about what do you perceive the problems are, because this has to be a Detroit solution when we get done. It's not Lansing coming in and saying, we're going to fix all this for you, because that doesn't work. And
the majority leader said that. We can't shove this down their throats, especially as a Senate that's controlled by Republicans and a city that is majority Democrat. We need to make this comprehensive and collaborative.
We really do, and I worked with my Democratic colleagues. The 4 from Detroit. We sat down, oh my gosh, probably at least 100 hours just sitting down talking about what do you want your schools to be? How do you see us getting to that?
And without sounding like a sycophant, I must say, I don't know many Republicans that get the NAACP award.
It was,
and someone I'm looking at got an NAACP award, and God bless all of us, but that does say a lot, sir.
It was a huge honor, and I really appreciate them noticing that.
Well stated.
But it's between my staff and I. Peter Wills is my chief of staff, who has been just countless of hundreds of hours as he's gone through this along with me. He's been my partner through this whole thing, and just trying to make sure that at the end of the day, we want the Detroit schools to be successful. They have to make sure that the kids get an education. I mean, they all deserve a great education because a lot are in poverty. We have to break the cycle by getting them a good education. That's their step up.
What can we do to, and as we speak today, we still don't know what the final package would be, but it's clear that the Senate has taken an approach that's more collaborative. The House is quite, I'll use the term angry at the teachers because of the sick outs, and they seem to be taking an approach that some could argue is a bit punitive. What do we do to kind of bring this back home for the kids?
We have to sit down and discuss some good landing spots
Right.
that they can have, that we can have. We need to talk about what we're trying to get to in the end, and we have to make sure we keep our eye on the ball because the kids are the reason that we're doing this for. All this other is just noise that happens. We have to concentrate on what we're trying to do is make sure that we get the right education for the kids in the schools.
There's one point that seems to still be a source of a bit of contention, and that deals with the Detroit Education Commission. That's a Senate plan, and it's meant for oversight. There are some folks, even allies through this debate of yours, that are concerned that the commission will merely act as a Audubon for charter certification, as a way to somehow undermine existing public schools. Is that of concern to you?
Well, that's the opposite of what I've been getting pretty much because it's been the charters that have been coming and saying, you know, we don't like this.
Right.
Because we want nobody to have control over what we do. What we're trying to do is actually, what I envision the DEC is to take a look at the entire district, figure out where we need schools, kind of a master plan, if you will, of where we need schools, where we have them, where we don't have them, and then take a look at how we can better serve the community because there's a lot of confusion in Detroit about where the kids go. You know, the parents don't have a real good grasp at which school's better, you know, which one I should send my kid to. And crafting it was really kind of interesting because first of all I had to make sure that we didn't hurt the charters because the charters have half the kids in Detroit.
Right.
And so making sure we didn't hurt them from where they're at because as we did, we said any school is an A or a B, we're going to try and rate them from A to F. Any school that's an A or a B can replicate wherever they want without having to go through the DEC. Because those are the schools we want to be there. We want good schools to make sure that we have success.
So the DEC is not meant to thwart the charter movement?
No, it really is not. It's just trying to put things in place so that there's some kind of an order of where things are at. Because we've got parts of Detroit, the northeast side, that doesn't have hardly any schools. And then we have some parts that have a lot of schools. And so we're getting kids that are driving all the way across Detroit to go to school every day.
When we talk in a year, what will we be saying?
I'm hoping we'll be saying is things are looking much better. We have some neighborhood schools that are starting to get up again because that's the city is doing so well. I think that by getting the right thing in place, because right now for each student they're paying between $1,200 and $1,300 each year for debt. We need those dollars to go into the classroom to make sure that there's success.
I wish you the best of luck, and I know Michigan thanks you, especially like you said, you're not from Detroit. You went in with eyes open, and I'm hoping for a better year. I thank you so much for joining us. His name is Senator Goeff Hansen. He is a member of the Michigan State Senate. My name is Brad Pomerance in Lansing, Charter Local Edition.